Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Nvidia, ticker symbol NVDA. And so I am recording this on Monday, September 16th, after the market has closed, and Nvidia closed at a price of $116.78, being down about 2% on the day. And so, yeah, I wanted to go over the chart in this video, but really I wanted to go over some news that came out a couple months ago. I was thinking about it over the weekend while I was at work, and it kind of made me laugh. I wanted to share with you guys because I think it's a pretty clear topping indicator that, right now it might not stand out as, that big of a deal. But I think looking back, years into the future, we'll look back at this headline and think, yeah, that was clearly a topping indicator. And so, yeah, but that is not to say that Nvidia has already put the top in. Looking at the daily chart here, we could be seeing a top, weeks, months down the road that is higher than the all-time high that was hit on June 20th, which was $140.75. We could be going higher than that, but that does not necessarily mean that, we're not getting ready to turn around and start going down. So I just kind of wanted to go over this, kind of a fun video, and then get into some technicals that stand out to me as, looking like this might be pulling back here soon. But anyways, I just wanted to go over some news articles that I looked up. This popped up when I was looking up this search criteria here. I thought that was pretty funny. But this is really just based on this article that came out on June 5th. So the CEO of Nvidia signed a woman's chest, and yes, you read that right. And so, not that big of a deal, but if you think about, Nvidia being a microchip company, they're not rock stars. And so that is not something that you're going to be seeing at the bottom before a rally. That is something that you're going to see at the very tippy top, like I said, which may not be in just yet, but if it's not, I think it's around the corner. And I think it's a good time to be exercising some caution. And so the photo associated with this that I used in the thumbnail, I found that on Reddit. And so here is Jensen, the CEO of Nvidia, signing a woman's chest. And we can see here this was at the Computex conference. So, when computer nerds are signing women's chests at a conference, just like rock stars would, that could be a topping indicator. So, I just wanted to present that as, something to consider. Because, who's going to look back telling their grandkids, I was buying this company, at around this time. That's the time when you sell. That's the time when you get out, or at least manage risk, exercise some precautions, because I think that the top might very well be in. And I must say, topping signals, topping signs, puns intended right here, just to be clear. And then also this came up over the weekend. I saw this from Unusual Whales, that the CEO, so Jensen, who we just saw in the last photo, has been selling stock. And, so we can see this here from Unusual Whales. I will include a link to this post in the description of this video, but we can also look this up on the NASDAQ's website. I just Googled this. I will include a link to this as well. And so we can look up the Nvidia insider activity. And from this, I have it, I believe, maxed out for this page of 100 of the most recent trades. And if we look at this, the most recent one being from 9/11, we can see that Jensen has been selling a lot of stock. And if we scroll down, we can just see a number of, while they are automatic sells, just being very systematic. And so if you're watching the CEO, the head of a company, selling a lot of shares, that's not necessarily a red flag, but that's definitely a yellow flag, maybe even an orange flag, And so if we just scroll down here, this goes back, more than a month in time. We start getting into some variability here with others selling. Also, some other orders placed in the past acquisitions or Let's see, keep going here. Disposition. So I'm not really sure, of all of these, but, sells very, very clear. And we just go back in time, automatic sells, going back to June when that photo was taken, a lot of people selling. So I think that's something to be concerned about if you're buying the stock. But one thing, maybe to leave on a more positive note from Unusual Whales here, I'll just make this a little bit bigger. We can see that Nvidia is on track to double in coming years as AI follows the path of past tech bubbles, per Dan Niles, as reported in Business Insider. A couple things about that. Maybe this is already priced in. Maybe the doubling is already priced in, and as this becomes realized, we're actually going to see a decline in the price because these expectations are already set so high that there's room for it to come down. And also, I think comparing this with past tech bubbles, what do bubbles do? They eventually burst. So again, while I think this is great news for the company, great news for growth, as an investor or as a trader, I think this is actually like somewhat risky, especially because this is coming out in, I guess, is Business Insider mainstream media. But if they're saying, in these headlines that this is very bullish, that this is going to double when it's already gone up so much, maybe that's cause for concern or at least exercising some caution. But anyways, on that note, I'm going to dive into the chart. And one thing I did want to go over before throwing up all of my drawings is note that this green candle here was from June 5th. And so that is when this article came out. And so, June 5th right here, I'm going to pull up my drawings now when I click this. And from that close of June 5th, it actually did go up higher about 15%, but then following that, it did pull down more than 25% to the downside from June 5th, hitting a low, let's see, on August 5th when the market gapped down of $90.68. But then as where we are trading right now, it's only down about 5%, not even from the close of June 5th. So, we are really consolidating in this range. Maybe this is a bull flag and it is going to be breaking higher. But, as I went over in the last video on Nvidia, I think that, this could be topping, as, I just presented my argument for that with the things from the internet. But yeah, just going over the chart here. From the last video, I did make the case that we could be seeing a bounce from this low. While I did suggest it was putting in a head and shoulders pattern, I did present the case that it could be bouncing. And so I put out that video, I believe, on Saturday, which would have been June 7th, I believe. And so we have here Friday, June 6th, when we hit that low that closed at a price of 102.82 on the 6th. And from that, in that video, I talked about price potentially going up to around $115 to $121 and maybe topping around there. And so that was really based on this Fibonacci retracement that you can see here. But because that is a retracement from the bottom to the top, that is to identify levels to the downside that might be acting as support. And it does look like the golden pocket did act as support right around that level, ranging from around 104 to about 106. Like I said, though, we did dip lower, hitting a low of $100.94 on September 6th. And so from that, I did have these lines to the upside, but really if we want to look for resistance following a bounce, a retracement to the upside, we should be drawing a Fibonacci retracement from the top to the bottom. And so I did that following the last video because, I wasn't sure that the bottom was in, but now it's very clear after seeing this bounce that the bottom is in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to omit these two levels to the upside, so the 236 and the 382 just so it's not so cluttered. And then I'm going to talk about these retracements that it does look like we pulled up to the golden pocket here. We have pulled back. Maybe this is a fake out pullback and we do start to move back up to, around 125. The 786 here is at a price of $124.76. So right around 125. But very clearly, we did bounce going up to this golden pocket, which is the 618 up to the 65% retracement. And so that is a price of 119.67 up to 120.64. So right around 120. And so last week on the 12th, on Thursday, we saw a high of 120.79. So piercing both of those levels, but closing below, and we actually haven't been able to see a close above 119.67 or 120. And so I do think that we could be pulling back to test the base of this channel, and following that, maybe we do start to break lower. And so taking a step back, I've suggested that this could be a head and shoulders pattern with the little bear ears here, and, following this little bounce, we could be pulling back to that and coming down to around $50 a share a year from now. So not tomorrow, not next week, but maybe a year from now, the price could be dropping more than 50%. So I think it's pretty important to factor that it might take a while before that happens. But one thing, if I am wrong and we do start to rally, we do break above these all-time highs, that could be signaled by us moving up to this downtrend, which I have drawn based on the all-time high of 140.75 hit on June 20th, as well as the pivot high from August 26th, which was at a price of 131.25. And so drawing that trend line, we can see that we might be moving up to test that. Could coincide with 125, and so that might be some notable resistance there. But I have seen some things on X, on the internet, that could be suggesting that, maybe this is a cup and handle formation that we're starting to form, or an inverse head and shoulders, and maybe we do really start to rally higher. And so, giving it the benefit of the doubt, maybe I'm wrong. If we take a measurement from the base of that head there to the neckline and move that up to here, let's say we break that neckline there, that could be bringing price up to around $169 a share. So, maybe that's a possibility. It is definitely a possibility, but I do think that with price rolling over right around the golden pocket here, I do think that we could be retesting around 106 in the coming weeks, or maybe in the coming days. With the FOMC meeting on Wednesday, I think that there's going to be a lot of volatility in the market, especially with stocks like Nvidia that have really been pushing the S&P 500, the NASDAQ to all-time highs. I do think that we could be seeing all of that rolling over, or at least continuing this rollover that we have started. But maybe this is the start of a bull flag encased in a larger bull flag, and we do really start to move up to 169. So, I give it benefit of the doubt. I could be wrong. But with what we've seen here and what we've seen here, I think that there is a lot of risk in holding Nvidia stock at these prices, in buying at these prices. I think that the risk is greater than the reward at this point, and I think that a year from now we will be seeing prices right around $50 a share. But of course, I could be wrong. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care, you guys.